This is the power of the medicine. This patient has extreme muscle weakness, as in multiple sclerosis. We film him taking AIMSPRO for the first time. Initially, his exercised arm cannot resist pressure. Then we wait. After 10 minutes, much strength has already returned. And after 20 minutes, he has regained full power in his arms.
It's absolutely powerful, isn't it?
Philip is also amazed by the effect on his eyes.
It just really, it feels like a sort of really wow, like your eyes are really wide open and looking good.
A trial of MS patients taking AIMSPRO found that the failing eyesight of nearly all the participants improved. The medication is derived from a serum of goat's blood. This drug works by restoring the process of conduction of impulses along damaged nerves in patients with multiple sclerosis and some other neurological conditions. The results can be dramatic, real changes seen after just 20 minutes. This is how it works. The brain sends messages to the body via the spinal cord. Fibres coated with a protective fatty layer called myelin ensure the messages are smooth and quick. With MS, this layer is damaged, making the messages irregular and causing shaking. But the medication unblocks the electrical impulses and re-establishes contact with the muscles.
This is the first medication that can actually shift disability, and very rapidly so. In some 15,000 doses in over 300 patients over the past 4 or 5 years, we have not encountered any significant side effects. That's very encouraging.
Canon Andrew White, the Archbishop's envoy to the Middle East, credits the new drug with combating his MS.
Certainly last week, getting out of the helicopters in Baghdad, I know that I would not have been able to do it if it wasn't for this drug. So the reality is that it has created a 95% improvement in literally 20 minutes.
This medicine remains unlicensed, while the regulatory authorities consider giving it their approval. Sue Saville, ITV News.
Good evening. A drug made from goat's blood is being hailed as a wonder treatment by an MS sufferer from Hampshire.
The condition left Billy Edmiston from Portsmouth crippled and in constant agony. But now his life has been transformed after he joined trials for the new serum.
He's so amazed and excited by his transformation, he wants other sufferers to be given the opportunity to receive this revolutionary treatment. Andrew Pate went along to meet him.
This would have been impossible for Billy Edmiston. He was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1984 and his condition became worse and worse.
I couldn't walk without sticks. I had needed a wheelchair only twice, but that was depressing. And I got pain, continual pain with it. Not everybody does apparently, but some people do. And I lived on co-proximal. And I couldn't walk more than 5-10 yards without stopping.
He now receives a weekly injection of goat's blood at his home in Southsea. The first day he was given the special serum, he put away his crutches and hasn't touched them since.
I never actually lost hope, but life was becoming very, very difficult. I can't believe it, and I notice things that he doesn't. For instance, he can now just bend down to pick up something from the floor. And before this serum, he'd have to kneel down, pick it up, then crawl around the room, find a chair and drag himself up.
Doctors told Billy there would never be a drug that could reverse the process of MS. So 2 years after first receiving goat's blood, he still finds it hard to believe such medicine has been found.
Never. I always hoped, or I thought, that one day they would find an answer. But I honestly didn't believe it would be in my lifetime.
So your life really has transformed?
It's brilliant. I no longer feel that things aren't possible. And to get a chance like this is absolutely amazing.
For Billy, there have been no side effects, just the chance to do all the things he thought he never would. Andrew Pate for Meridian Tonight.
Well, we're joined now at his home in Gosport by Graham Hewitt, who's a member of the National Board of the MS Society. Graham, good of you to join us. It's an extraordinary story, this. What's your reaction to it?
Oh, I'm delighted. My reaction is one of cautious excitement. We must be careful because there have been so many false dawns and promises of cures that however excellent the anecdotal evidence is, I think we should wait for informed, independent confirmation.
So, Graham, what would you like to see happen now then? What's the next step here?
Well, things are going on even at this moment. And in fact, there are 2 independent trials, one at St George's Hospital in London and one in Oxford, which are carrying out full investigations into this incredible suggestion that goat serum can have a beneficial effect on people with MS. Now, it's going to take some time before that information is collated and discussed. But I hope that the results will be as positive as the results we have seen of individual people. And at that time, I think we should be in a position to decide the way forward.
Hope then, if nothing more at this stage, for all MS sufferers.
Yes, I think that's true, but I feel very positive on this occasion from the anecdotal evidence that we have. And if the independent trials confirm what we've seen, then I believe the MS Society will be pushing the government to include whatever drug arises from this in the prescribed drugs for people with MS. So I think that there is more than a glimmer of hope.
Smashing. Graham Hewitt in Gosport, thanks for joining us. Well, if you want more information about what could well be a revolutionary treatment, you can visit preventus.org.uk or call this number 01233 334 879. That number again, 01233 334 879.
This is BBC One in the South, and now South Today with Sally Taylor.
Hello and welcome to South Today. Tonight we have a tale of 2 families. We tell the remarkable story of drug trials to combat multiple sclerosis. We meet those benefiting and those desperate to keep their son alive. It attacks the nervous system, it can be fatal, and there is no cure. Multiple sclerosis affects 100,000 people in this country. It has a devastating effect on those who suffer from it and those who care for them. But we've learned of a possible development in its treatment with a natural drug derived from goat's blood. Freddie Rostand has met 2 families, one trying the serum, the other, Denise and Phil Griffiths, desperate to get the drug to save their son Matthew's life.
Time is running out for the Griffiths family. This is their home in Petersfield.
And this particular fir tree we have here, Matthew brought this home from his infant school. It was in a yoghurt cup.
Yes.
Matthew has grown too, unlike his elder brother Simon. He died last year from multiple sclerosis. He was just 39 years old.
It was so frightening to see Simon deteriorate in such a way, because he just had nothing to help him at that time.
Many families say the hardest thing about MS is the absence of hope. There simply is no cure. MS attacks the nervous system, destroying it piece by piece. For some, it comes and goes. For others like Simon, it just doesn't stop. It's painful and it can be fatal. Now, Matthew also has multiple sclerosis.
He's frightened, isn't he?
Very frightened.
It makes him very frightened to think that he's got the same disease.
He had help with that, with the disease. I'm just lucky Nothing else I can say.
But Matthew, I mean to say, is now our only child, isn't he?
That's right.
Really and truly, it would be just devastating to have anything go wrong with Matthew, because we'd be left with no one at all.
No one at all.
To,
no.
you know,
that would be very sad if we found ourselves in that position.
Yes.
But could the family now be onto something? Matthew, who has a PhD in genetics, thinks they are.
There's this drug called goat serum.
In trials, the results have taken everyone by surprise, but they can't get it. It's still on trial, awaiting approval. It's called AIMSPRO, a natural product derived from goat's blood. Heather Edmiston's husband Billy has been on it for 2 years. He was one of the first guinea pigs.
Just relax a minute, that's it, otherwise it's going to hurt you.
They live in Southsea. He had MS for 20 years. AIMSPRO came along in the nick of time.
The wheelchair was horrendous, because I then knew that it was only a matter of time.
And then I got my first injection. And the difference is unbelievable. Suddenly there are no horizons anymore. Everybody they've tried it on, who are involved with the company, has improved, all to different degrees.
Side effects?
None. None whatsoever.
They've now sold the wheelchair, and life has taken a dramatic turn.
I could have dreamt of that. And I'll kill to get this stuff. Better than dope. I couldn't walk more than 5 to 10 yards without a break. All the time with sticks. Constant pain. I can now walk normal pace, strolling a couple of miles. But then, Heather, you feel a bit guilty because I'm getting it and so many aren't.
Back in Petersfield, Matthew Griffith's parents are worried about him. They've written to the drug company Deval International in Eastbourne to try and join the next trial.
He has become very depressed.
Oh, my PhD and that sort of thing, it's all wasted. What a waste.
I understand that a third MS trial is due to start in October, and I should be grateful if Matthew can be considered for the trial. We're going to be positive about this.
That's right.
Nothing that's not positive do we want to think of anymore.
Freddie Rostand, BBC South Today.
A short while ago, I spoke to Dr. Brian Yule, a consultant clinical neurophysiologist working in the NHS in London, and I asked him how significant these trials are in medical terms.
First of all, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry to hear of the difficulties described in this film clip we've just seen. Very distressing story. The medication is remarkable. I've been working alongside the company Deval International, who's been developing it for 10 months now, and seen some remarkable reversals of symptoms, some of them quite rapid in fact. So I've no doubt that there will be a general application in multiple sclerosis treatment. Of course, it's up to the trials which are underway to establish precisely when the medication should be prescribed and in combination with what other means of treatment and so on. But we must await those results yet.
Well, obviously we have to wait because it has to go through the trials, but as you just said yourself, it's very distressing for families like the Griffiths. I mean, how long are they likely to have to wait?
Well, I have varying opinions on this, but the MHRA has been helpful in providing access to the European evaluation system, but even with the best of luck and appropriate trial results and so on, it will still not be before the middle of next year, I'm afraid.
But MS sufferers have been given hope before, haven't they? Why is this different?
Well, I think that this may be different in that the rapidity of onset of the relief of symptoms is strikingly quick, and so there may be very practical immediate benefits to patients, I think, taking the medication. The long-term benefits of any medication, however, are much more difficult to define, and only time will tell.
Dr. Yule, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, if you've been affected by this story or you want further information, here are a couple of numbers for you. You can contact the Multiple Sclerosis Resource Centre. There it is on 0800 783 0518. That's 0800 783 0518. Or you can contact the MS Society on 0808 800 8000. We'll give you those numbers again in a couple of minutes.
My speech was very impaired. My memory, I'd lost all my memories, my children's memories, and that's heartbreaking.
I couldn't run at all without falling over.
It's just like an electric shock shooting through my whole body, and it really frightened me.
There was a buzzing, a constant buzzing in the back of my head, which I really couldn't understand.
And I sat in the bath and I was sectioned in half. Half was hot and half was cold. The worst day of my life was when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It was absolutely numbing.
I was devastated because I didn't know anything about it.
I knew then that everything hadn't been a figment of my imagination, and that I wasn't going mad.
Loss of bladder and bowel control was very depressing.
And then I was constantly getting flus, fevers, lying in bed, shaking.
I couldn't turn over in bed without being sick.
And I remember when I could still get up the stairs, I used to go on my bottom and my hands and just wanting to be shut away and just sitting there and thinking, how dare you sit here and cry, is people worse off, and just letting it go and sobbing.
We decided that if we wanted to do any more travelling, it had to be now, because within a year or two, it was not going to be possible.
It takes perseverance and a lot of I'm sorry to placate them and my family and keep them happy.
Because they're watching and waiting for you, and obviously as your illness progresses, they've got the fear of facing mortality.
A major part of my fun out of life was finished.
I was prescribed, after a lot of kerfuffle and hardy-bargy, beta interferon. It did not work for me. Now I know of others that it probably helped. It didn't help. It made me feel 10 times worse, and I voluntarily came off it.
I didn't really feel as though it had done a huge amount of good for me. I felt very sore.
My husband said, no, I don't want you to go on it, because the side effects were just too risky, with the depression and the flu-like symptoms for 3 months and bedridden, and he just didn't want me to go through it. He thought I'd been through enough. So we said thank you, but no thank you.
I just thought after this beta interferon, there's no point. Might as well address the symptoms and get on with it. Get to know the beast.
This is a novel medication. It's a unique mechanism of action, and the manufacturing process is absolutely a one-off.
I've been a family doctor for 30 years, and this remarkable product has helped me help patients in a remarkable way, and this has given me great satisfaction and certainly improved the quality of my medicine.
Before my first injection, I really didn't have any great expectations at all. I was hopeful that I would find some improvement.
Could this be the Holy Grail? Could this be the answer to all my dreams and problems? And then I thought, well, maybe even if it just scratches the surface, that's something as well, isn't it?
And I thought, well, if there is a chance of something new that might help to bring something back for the walking or the hands or the numbness that I have, it would be great. So, yes, go for it.
The reaction I had after my first treatment was really actually outstanding. I think that's the only word I can use. It was so much more than I'd hoped for.
Within a couple of minutes, I could feel the sight coming back into my eye, my left eye, which I could hardly see anything out of. And after a couple of later treatments, I could read with it, which I've never done for years. But it was just mind-blowing.
I was walking without thinking what I was doing for the first time in a couple of years. I was holding cups without thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to do this with walking? Holding trays, standing in the shower without holding on, lifting my legs up. Walking was brilliant, up and down from chairs and stools without having to push up and down. It was really fantastic.
It took me literally 48 hours to feel the first effect, and the first effect, positive effect, was that my bowels were functioning properly. I didn't have to look for the nearest toilet, which is such a relief.
My colour improved, my speech improved, and the following day I was literally able to turn over in bed